to the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 14, Part 129, which talks about airline operations, 43, which talks about aircraft maintenance, and 145, which talks about a certificated maintenance unit. Also, it's contrary to their lease and to the minimum standards. Now, we don't know where this is going to go, but what we have done, working with Junior, is we've moved $100,000 into our legal expense account. I want to add to that, this is to cover temporary expenses. We have landlord insurance, obviously. Our landlord insurance covers legal expenses like this on a reimbursable basis. So if this does result in a lengthy legal action, obviously it will be expensive for Garza Aviation, but not for us, other than those temporary expenses. So, yes.
Do you have any idea what they were charging, what Garza was charging versus what Whitehead was charging?
I don't know the answer to that.
Mr. Williams, this is Albert Gardner.
Yes, sir.
Do you know if in the process of the things that Garza Aviation has done, if they provided any maintenance services that require them to sign off the maintenance, or are they just doing ground handling that does not require a maintenance sign-off to CSI?
In my original conversation with the owner of Garza Aviation, I expressed to him anytime CSI has a maintenance requirement, that he is certainly welcome to fulfill that maintenance requirement. That's what he's here on the airport for. But if it, on any given flight, the ground handling services is not within his purview. I do not know if there have been maintenance discrepancies on the CSI aircraft that have come in.
Well, as I understand it, what we wanted Garza Aviation to do originally was provide the kind of maintenance that would require a sign-off. And there may have been ancillary items involved that didn't, but I think that was our whole idea, was that to have a maintenance provider to do those things that required maintenance sign-offs.
Yes, that is.
And if they're not doing that, it appears that is kind of outside the scope of their lease.
Yes, that's correct.
Anyway, let's go ahead.
So anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you bet. So the next step is we're providing Garza time to cure their default. Their rent, as I said, it has been increased to fair market value. Now, because of that, they are delinquent in their rent to the airport, and they will soon be in default again on their lease for non-payment of rent. Now, so that's a lot of the bad news. The good news is if Garza Aviation stops providing ground handling services, this can all go away. That is our goal. Our desire is to go back to normal operations. We still want Garza Aviation on the airport providing airport maintenance. That was our desire from the get-go, and it remains our desire. If that happens today, the airport would be willing to reinstate their incubator rate. Yes, sir.
Previously, Millionaire was doing this process. What were they charging to do that?
I don't know the answer to that. I try not to get into our tenants' business and ask them what they charge for this.
Fair market value for that?
I would say fair market value. I would say that I am aware that Millionaire services CSI aircraft at other airports around the country. They have standard rates that they charge. And when a government contract goes out to bid, the people who are bidding on that contract will contact the local FBOs to get pricing. By law, Millionaire cannot provide a favorable rates to one person or another. They have to give, this is our standard rate, and that's what the bidders on the government contract then have to take, to bid on the contract with the government.
So, to our knowledge, they were charging what they charge at other airports?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So anyway, so this is where. Oh, sorry.
What is the contractual time period?
30 days. 30 days. that 30 days expires on August the 22nd. So, we have some options now that we need to talk about as far as our strategy moving forward. My recommendation is we hold off on that and go into executive session to discuss that. Any questions right now?
Just reiterate what you would hope to have happen.
Our goal absolutely is to resolve this and have Garza Aviation go back to providing maintenance as they previously were. I felt they were a valuable tenant, and I'd like to see them get back into that.
If that's the case, if they say like today or tomorrow, will they still have to pay that $6,000 that you?
No, right there, I make the comment, if this happens today, we will be more than happy to reinstate their incubator.
But you'll charge that off that you've already charged
right.
against their account. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Just a couple of observations. One, I see the emails from Garza's managing member. I don't see your emails.
Well, let's wait and we'll discuss it.
Well,
I've sent 3 emails.
okay, I just want to make sure that this is properly contextualized.
Okay.
And whether we discuss those emails in open session or in executive
Well,
session.
good question.
I still want to see the emails.
Okay, Janine wrote me and asked me that specific question, and I responded to you.
I received it.
And I can print that out for you here real quickly if you'd like that.
The next observation is, and it just, I don't know if it's style or what, but there's some editorialization in here that makes me just nervous.
Okay?
If you'll go back one slide. Any legal, or any lengthy legal action will be expensive to Garza, but not for us. That may or may not be true, but it's a kind of editorialization that makes it appear to me that we're not interested in working with them. We're throwing down a gauntlet, and
Well,
that makes it hard to have conversations afterwards.
Fair point, that is certainly not my intent. I have in fact spoken to Mr. Garza and let him know that I'm available to speak with him at any time.
Okay. On the next slide, going forward, not back. If this happens today, does that mean by midnight tonight, or does that mean tomorrow, next week, or after we have some kind of conversation?
We sent a letter to Garza Aviation within the past few days. Specifying today as kind of a drop dead date on the incubator rate.
I'm just of the mind that without the board knowing more about this, setting a deadline on the same day that we're having a meeting is just not quite as flexible as I believe we need to be.
Okay? Any other questions?
I guess I kind of go along with that comment. You give them a period to cure. You gave them the contract period to cure up front. Any other deadlines prior to the period to cure is probably not kosher.
Fair point. Let's bring that up in executive session.
No matter what we do, we have 2 very important FBOs on the field. We have Millionaire and Garza. Very important. They're very important to each other.
Yeah.
One has to recommend the other for certain services, and we've got to find a way to mediate this. And maybe we don't have the people in this room that can do it. I would think we do. But they're very important to each other, and both of them are very important to the airport.
Absolutely.
So we've got to make this work.
Yeah. Okay.